This is Jennifer Hale, and you're listening to the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. And, I should go.
The tangents at Squee continue all the way to episode 135 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. Do you have moments where reality isn't quite right? Like your memories don't fit? Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do every week. We're on the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Belvedere.
This is Sally from Wisconsin.
This is Mitch in Kitchener, Ontario.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Chrissy sends her hellos. She had some family business that required her attention. She said to go ahead without her, which we have. We have got a lot to talk about. Soapboxes on the ready. As we get to some news. There's going to be some ranting, there's going to be some squeeing, and among other things. Maybe a tear or two, we'll see.
Typical fangirl.
Yep, pretty much. Alright, well, we're going to start with some 10 o'clock news, unfortunately. A couple of passings to report upon. First is comic Don Rickles passed away at the age of 90, which clips of Don Rickles on Letterman and was cracking up like something else. Which Chauncey actually was somewhat familiar with Don Rickles' comedy. I knew he was a comedian. I had no idea the style of comedy that he was famous for. No, I just figured he was just one of those, of back in the day, of the 50s and 60s and 70s, hanging around with the Rat Pack and Sinatra and all that. But I had no idea that, insult comedy was his thing. But that makes that joke in the first Toy Story? I think that's the very first one, where he says, "What you looking at, you hockey puck?" And he's actually talking to the hockey puck. Makes way more sense now. Because that was kind of his thing. He called people hockey pucks and schlubs and other things. So, yeah. Long career. Of course, the voice of Mr. Potato Head in Toy Story is probably the thing that we know him best as. And I've seen conflicting reports. After he passed, I saw one article that said that Toy Story 4 would be his last movie. So I thought maybe he had already started recording dialogue, but then I saw another article that said he hadn't recorded anything yet before he passed. So how they're going to do that, I don't know. They may find somebody that sounds like him, because that's what they did for Jim Varney, the voice of Slinky, the Slinky dog. After he passed, they found someone that could do a really good Jim Varney, voice, and that's who's been the voice of Slinky ever since. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what Pixar decides. But he does live on in Toy Story 1, 2, and 3, which is good. And then speaking of Disney, Disney Imagineer George McGinnis has also passed away. He was 87. He has the distinction, actually, of being the last Imagineer personally hired by Walt Disney. Before Walt.
Wow.
Yeah. But his work, if you've been to the Disney parks, you've seen his stuff. He designed Space Mountain at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World. He also did miniature work for the Carousel Progress, which is in Walt Disney World. The People Mover, which is in Walt Disney World. It was in Disneyland, but they closed theirs several years ago. And designs of the monorail, among other things. He was also lead designer for the Horizons Pavilion, which closed before I started going in at an age where I actually remember going. So I never actually got to experience Horizons, unfortunately. But he also designed the Jeeps for the Indiana Jones ride at Disneyland, which is one of my favorites. So, of course, our thoughts and prayers and everything go to both Don Rickles' family and George McGinnis's family. But it's bittersweet that we've lost these people, but it's also a nice thing that their work lives on, allows their legacy to continue. So that's it for that. Let's move on to some convention announcements. Long Island Who just announced John Leeson, aka the voice of K9. So if you're a fan of K9, yeah, may want to get on that. So John Leeson, he does do conventions. They tend to be mostly just the Doctor Who related conventions. He doesn't seem to pop up at other things that are more general convention. But the Doctor Who specific, Chicago TARDIS, Gallifrey 1, Long Island Who pops up every now and then. So that should be exciting, and that's in November, because Brittany just looked it up because she's trying to figure out if she can go.
Yep.
So there's that. That's it for convention news at the moment. And then we've got some teasers and some trailers, which stuff. We had a bit of a last minute news that kind of got put in there, so stuff's slightly out of order, but that's okay. So our first teaser was for the My Little Pony movie, and it is definitely a teaser. There's no movie footage whatsoever. You get like the title, and you see like the main ponies like putting the title together and acting like, oh, this is so exciting, and that sort of thing. So it is a teaser. That being said, I'm excited. Like, is it October yet? I'm so ready for My Little Pony. I would, let's see, what is this, April-ish? I would, the next season, the new season actually starts this weekend. So, if you're not into Doctor Who and you're into My Little Pony, you can watch My Little Pony instead of Doctor Who, or vice versa. In that case, I'll be watching both. Thank you. But I'm not sure exactly when. I don't know enough about the parent companies and what they may tie in the full trailer with. I know some people thought maybe there would be a trailer tied with the new Smurfs movie, but I think this is the teaser is all we're getting for right now. So, and some other cartoon gets released here in the next few months, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway. And then in Marvel, we got two drastically different teasers. And actually, I'm going to switch these around. So we got
That's fine.
Yeah, we got a teaser and the premiere date for The Defenders. Very excited. I'm very excited and mad all at the same time. So the teaser, it's really short. It's like security camera footage. You've got the four Defenders, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist in an elevator, and they look like they're tired. Whatever they did, they're tired. So they're in this elevator just looking worn out. And Jessica realizes there's a camera and jumps up and knocks it out of commission. The fun thing is there's several different Easter eggs. One is the name of the company. You can kind of see it on the little placard thing in the elevator. And then also because it's security footage, it's got like a date time stamp on it. And then there's another string, and the date time stamp is in the upper right hand corner, and then there's another string of numbers in the upper left hand corner. The date and time is when the video stops, when Jessica stops the camera. It is the date of when the Defenders premieres, which is in August.
That was really clever.
I know, it is. It's pretty awesome. It's like August. Ooh, that's not that far away, so that's good. I don't have to wait too long. It does give Chauncey some time to binge 5 seasons of Netflix, because there's 2 of Daredevil. Plus each season of Jessica.
Daredevil season 2. Gotta get Luke Cage.
Yeah.
And Iron Fist.
So you've got a little bit of time to binge.
Yeah.
You would probably want to start now if you haven't already.
Yeah.
My only complaint is that the date that it drops on Netflix happens to be right in the middle of Gen Con.
Ooh. I was about to say you were going to be camping.
No Gen Con.
Darn.
I'm like, sweet. And then I look at the calendar and I'm like, dang it. So I'm going to have to wait and see what the Gen Con schedule looks like. And I may have to excuse myself from Friday of Gen Con just so I can stay home and binge the Defenders.
You got a date with your public defenders.
Exactly. The good news is the Defenders season is going to be a lot shorter. I think it's only like 8 episodes, so it won't take as long as something for like Daredevil or all that, where they're like 13 plus episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I'm like, do I really have to go to Gen Con that day, or can I stay home so I can bitch the Defenders?
And watch Friday be like the day that you like has everything you really want to do.
Yeah, I know.
That's going to happen.
It probably will be. I'm just putting that out there. I may not be there on Friday during Gen Con. Anyway, as I was saying, and the other string of numbers is in the upper left-hand corner. If you copy and paste that into a web browser, that is actually an IP address. That will take you to a website.
Wow.
It actually takes you to the website for the New York Bulletin, which, if you've watched Daredevil, especially season 2, the New York Bulletin, that newspaper, plays really big into the story of the Punisher, actually, among other things. And then even within that website, there are links that take you to other things. There's an ad for the Chikara Dojo, which is an Iron Fist. And then actually the Chikara Dojo page looks like an ad for LinkedIn, and you can click on that, and that takes you to Ward Meacham's LinkedIn profile. Which Ward Meacham is one of the characters in Iron Fist. So there's like Easter eggs within Easter eggs within Easter eggs. So don't be afraid to click on stuff. And apparently the New York Bulletin's website, it's going to expand the closer we get to the Defenders premiere. So there's going to be even more online Easter eggs. So that's pretty cool. I thought that was pretty awesome.
And this is why I love MCU.
Yes, exactly.
It's so huge.
Yes. Yeah. Nice segue. Speaking of the MCU, no offense to the Defenders, but they've kind of gotten swept aside momentarily by a certain Asgardian prince and a really big green dude. We got our first teaser for Thor Ragnarok, and oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my. This was so not what I was expecting, yet it is everything I ever wanted that I didn't know I needed.
Exactly.
I mean, it is... So many people are like, oh my god, this is awesome, and at the same time they're like, this is so different. Yet it's not. It's different for Thor. It's not different for the MCU because it has a very Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. to it.
Yeah.
And actually,
Yes.
apparently James Gunn said that this is actually his favorite trailer of any of them, including Guardians of the Galaxy, which are his movies.
And awesome
Yes.
music. I mean,
Yeah.
to get the okay from Led Zeppelin
Yeah.
album
it
rep
makes-
to do that.
Yeah. And the thing is it makes sense, at least to me. We had
Mhm.
Thor
Oh, yeah, I
and
looked at the lyrics that you had posted
Yeah.
and I'm just like, yep.
yeah, the lyrics
it
the
fits.
lyrics make perfect sense for Thor and this story. I mean, that song literally talks about Valhalla and the Hammer of the Gods.
Yep.
But if you think about it, we had Thor, and then we had Thor: The Dark World. Thor takes place mostly on Earth because it's Thor getting banished. He comes to Earth. Thor: Dark World, we still have a bit more that takes place on Asgard, but there's still a good proportion of it that takes place on Earth. So that keeps him grounded to, is like they like to call it Midgard. This Thor Ragnarok, if any of it takes place on Earth, it is a very small chunk of it. This is Thor in space. Therefore, this is Thor closer to Guardians of the Galaxy than Thor being closer to Captain America and Iron Man being on Earth. So I think it makes more sense.
Thor looks pretty darn good with short hair.
Yes, that too. I mean,
I like him with short hair.
Yeah, I mean, we get Thor, we get Loki, we get Kate Blanchett, again looking like she walked out of a Marilyn Manson emo concert.
Yeah.
We get Jeff Goldblum.
The Hammer, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Which I kind of forgot he was in this until like, oh wait, I knew that.
Yeah. And then, of course, we got the big green guy.
Yeah. I know him from work.
He's a friend from work!
I lost it.
And the look on Jeff Goldblum's character's face was just perfect.
This the entire thing. It's like, you got like this, this is Thor doing Gladiator, or like the 300 or something, where he's like, he's in this arena, he's ready to fight. He has no idea who he's fighting, but the crowd seems to know who he's going to be fighting, because we could probably assume that they managed to get a hold of Banner at some point. And he either hulked out, or he was already hulked out when they got a hold of him. He's stayed that way. Probably because of things are doing to him. It's a self-preservation thing. He's probably being tortured and being treated almost like a bull in a bullfight, keeping him angry. And they probably putting him out in this arena and for sport. But they don't realize that they actually know each other. So it's like Thor's there. He's waiting. He's like, I don't want to do this, but he's like, I'm gonna put the helmet on. I got my weapon. I'm gonna fight. Because I'm a warrior, and they're like doing this announcer thing. He's like, and you're incredible, and the Hulk busts through the door, and Thor's just like, yes! Why is he excited?
What?
Like, you should be terrified. Why are you happy? Why are you smiling? And Jeff Goldblum's just very concerned. Meanwhile, Loki is sitting there like, Loki knows that they know each other. So I'm sure Loki is like, oh, this is going to be fun.
I'm not on the receiving end of it this time.
Yeah.
You need God.
I'm sure that's what he was thinking. He's like, I get to watch. I want to participate.
Your turn, brother.
Yeah.
I kind of can't wait.
Chauncey actually didn't think that line was very funny. I told him he needs to stop being such a grumpy old man. I mean, he thinks it's a bit juvenile, which I can kind of see. Like, he thinks it's good, that the writers could have been more sophisticated. But, I mean, it's a teaser, so we're not getting full context. There's probably more to that line that we're not getting, which will probably make it actually funnier, would be my guess.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, it's a very Thor, because Chauncey's like, well, he's an Avenger. That's not a job. I'm like, well, Thor is a prince. All he knows is being the Prince of Asgard, and he was supposed to be king. He turned that down, being king, so what is his purpose? That's being an Avenger. To him, being an Avenger is his job, But it's like, So I think it's a very Thor thing to say. If it came out of like Captain America's mouth, I don't think it would be nearly as funny.
Right.
But
Right.
Thor,
And then
being exposed to the Midgardians, he's tried to take on some of our ways of speaking, and that's his attempt. And I think the line itself maybe isn't as funny. It's just Thor saying that because it's like, like Thor, that's not really work, but I get what you're saying. And so
right. Well, and he's probably so excited too because he probably didn't know where Hulk had gone off to. So I'm sure he's probably relieved. Like, okay, yeah, he's alive. Okay, I gotta face him, but hey, he's here.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too is after from not Age of Ultron, Civil War, I'm going too far back. I'm assuming that they like to say the MCU runs kind of in real time. I think there's a little bit of fudging right there. So, like, if a movie comes out in 2017, it takes place about 2017-ish.
Right, give or take.
Give or take, a couple years probably. But I am assuming that Thor Ragnarok is going to be very similar to actually Thor and Iron Man 2, where they really were, the events are running concurrently to each other, or at the same time. So when Nick Fury makes that mention to Tony Stark, I got troubles in the Southwest region, the events of Thor are happening at the same time, and that's what he's referring to. Even though the movies come out separately, they're taking place at essentially the same time. So, and I think that's why they don't know where Thor and Banner are during the events of Civil War, is because it's taking place over here in whatever planet they're on for this bit, for Thor Ragnarok. I could be wrong, but that's my assumption. Just because they've done that before, where sometimes the movies get spread out as far as their release, but in universe, the events are happening at the same time. So, Thor, at this point, maybe doesn't even know what happened. He may actually have a good idea of what happened, at least kind of, with Civil War, just because we know he's been to Earth. Well, we do know that actually, now I think about it, I take that back where I said, if Thor Ragnarok takes place, any of it takes place on Earth, it'll be very little. If we know some of it takes place on Earth, hello, mid-credit scene from Doctor Strange. Duh. So he may have some idea from the time he was on Earth looking for Loki and his encounter with Doctor Strange and all that. But Banner probably has no idea. So I'm guessing. But anyway. So Thor Ragnarok, excited. So it some people are like, it seems, even without the Guardians of the Galaxy-esque feel to it, it's like, it seems so lighthearted compared to the other Thors. And I mentioned this in the chat when Sean said something, and I was talking to Chauncey in the car too. It's like, you look at Marvel for this year, at least as far as the movies are concerned, set Netflix and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. aside, but just the movies. It's like, you've got Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2. It's like, Talking Raccoon, 80s music, 70s and 80s music. Baby Groot! Like, yay, we're excited. Spider-Man Homecoming, yay, Spider-Man, he's back in the MCU. Look at him, he's all fresh-faced and excited to be a superhero. Good for him. And you got Thor Ragnarok. Thor, rock and roll Thor in space is essentially what we're getting here. It's like, yeah, Thor, getting a haircut. Ooh, look, the Incredible Hulk. Ooh, Loki. Hey, Jeff Goldblum. That sort of, it's like, oh, it's very exciting. And I think they're trying to maybe like, hey, look, bright, shiny things over here for 2017 with the MCU. Don't look over here for 2018 when Thanos is going to make his appearance with the Infinity Gauntlet and everything's going to go to hell.
Right. Here's the fun times, and in the corner is the doom and gloom that's coming.
Exactly. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to the giant purple man behind the curtain with the giant gold glove.
Patiently twiddling his thumbs or drumming his fingers, just biding his time.
Yep, he's ready. So, just remember, as we get all excited by Baby Groot and everything, Thanos is coming. It's exciting. Okay. X-Files.
Yes, our next bit of news. This came as a bit of a surprise in my personal email inbox this morning, and I was able to find an article that the X-Files is going to return in audiobook form with cast and crew. X-Files fans, get ready to believe again, because David Duchovny, Gillian Anderson are once again reprising their roles as Mulder and Scully, but not on TV screen. It's going to be audiobook through audible.com. It's going to be based on a couple of graphic novels, or a graphic novel called Cold Cases by Chris Carter and Joe Harrison. It takes place before the I Want to Believe. Mulder and Scully team up to investigate a data breach at FBI headquarters that gives a mysterious group access to the old X-Files cases. Duchovny and Anderson aren't the only ones that are going to be joining the Audible upcoming full cast dramatization. We have Mitch Pileggi as Director Walter Skinner, William B. Davis to return as cigarette-smoking man. Rounding out the cast are Tom Braidwood, Dean Haglund, and Bruce Hardwood, a.k.a. the Lone Gunman, a trio of conspiracy theorists. And it comes out on July 18th, and you can pre-order. Yep. July 18th, can't confess enough. It's already pre-ordered.
It's exciting. I wonder if they're testing the waters.
They might be. I'm thinking so.
Yeah, it's like, that the return of the series, it went all right, but let's try this format instead and see how people like it.
Yeah, so hopefully it does. Hopefully it does well. Well, and this too, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Big Finish, because if it does well, they might be able to delve back and do some cases that happened off screen, in the early years.
Yeah. Yeah, they in this day and age do knock the audio stuff, whether it's an audio book or an audio drama. It's like, it's a really easy way to continue, a universe and still keep it canon if you want it to.
Exactly.
And it takes a lot less time and a lot less money, and it's easier for your stars too, because you're not having to tie them up doing, costumes and makeup and special effects and all that. It's like, it's just audio. Wish the same. Now let's move back to Disney. Disney announced the recipients for this year's Disney Legends, which is an award that they hand out at the D23 Expo. And it's those who have ties to Disney, be it acting or producing or whatever, who have made a significant impact on both the Disney and, I guess, entertainment as a whole. And the article, actually, I think I'm going to have to find an updated article, because the article I found, they had only announced a handful of them, and then later in the day they announced more. But the only links I could find are actually from the D23 Expo website, or the D23 Club website, which is fine, except those links become invalid after so long unless you have a membership. D23. So I'll try and find an updated link to put in the news notes. I was trying to say news and notes at the same time. That did not work. But I do have the entire list. This was taken from the D23 website. So, and then these are in no particular order except alphabetical by last name. I guess that is a particular order. So I'm just reading these the way they were written. First is Carrie Fisher, best known as Princess Leia, and then later General, in the Star Wars universe. Of course, her acting career, she was also an author, a playwright, screenwriter, and also an advocate for mental health awareness. Clyde Jerry Geronimi, I think. He was an animator he joined Disney actually in 1931. But he animated Mickey Mouse, Silly Symphony, Pluto cartoons. He became a sequence director in 1943, and he contributed to movies like The Three Caballeros, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, Cinderella, Peter Pan, 101 Dalmatians, which is my mom's favorite, and then also directed segments for the Mickey Mouse Club. Manuel Gonzalez, he was an artist. He joined Disney in 1936. He penciled the Sunday Mickey Mouse comic strip starting in 1938. So that was his... he's also one of the few to receive a Mouse Car award from Walt Disney himself. And then next is Mark Hamill. And sticking with Star Wars, best known as Luke Skywalker, among other things. Although he actually had a recurring role on General Hospital, which was on ABC. Wayne Jackson, who was an Imagineer. He joined Disney in 1965. He worked for the exhibit in the 64-65 New York World's Fair. He also worked on Pirates of the Caribbean and the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. So that's pretty cool. Stan Lee. Do we really need to go into why Stan Lee is going to be getting a Disney Legend Award? He's Stan Lee! If you don't know, you need to get on the internet and do some Googling. It's Stan Lee! Gary Marshall, who just passed away last year, actually, I think. He was a writer on the Dick Van Dyke Show, The Lucy Show. He produced The Odd Couple. He worked on shows like Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy. He also worked on The Princess Diaries. And he actually makes appearances in Disney's Race to Witch Mountain and Hocus Pocus, which is Chauncey's favorite. Julie Taymor, who is a Tony, Emmy, Grammy-winning and Oscar-nominated filmmaker, who also and she helped adapt The Lion King for Broadway, among other things. And then last but certainly not least, Oprah. So of course, award-winning producer, actress, talk show host. She's done a lot of work for charity. Obviously the Oprah Winfrey Show. She's gone to produce a lot of films for ABC, and then she's also going to co-star in the Disney adaptation of A Wrinkle in Time. So that should be exciting. The Disney Legends Award ceremony is always a fun thing at the D23 Expo. So if you're going, that is definitely one of those that you want to get in line for early if you want to witness it. So, all right, let's get to Doctor Who news. It's like it's coming back or something. This just in, Doctor Who's still not on, but only for like 5 more days. 4.5, something like that. This should be no surprise, really. We kind of assumed this was coming when the whole Doctor Who, Netflix, Hulu, blah, blah, blah thing happened.
The snafu.
Yeah, we're going to call it that. This just launched April 4th, but the BBC has launched its own streaming service called BritBox. And pretty much every episode of existing classic Doctor Who can now be found on BritBox.
Yeah, there's still a couple that they haven't uploaded yet, and the 8th Doctor movie is not on there yet. But right. The Fiveish Doctors reboot, I believe, is on there if I remember my search.
Yep. So there is the lost episodes. They were going to include the audio. And then they're actually going to do curated playlists for things like monsters and companions. So if you don't want to watch almost 50 years of television, and you just want to kind of pick and choose, you can just pick a playlist. So it's $6.99 a month. And it has other shows other than Doctor Who, but yeah. 500 plus episodes. That's really what we want. Yeah, if you're gonna pay for it, if you're a Doctor Who fan, not bad. I don't think.
Worth the price.
But note, it is only classic Who. New Who is on Amazon.
Yes.
But it's available phone, tablet, Apple TV, Roku, or going to BritBox.com. So, yeah, I want to take a look into it. Yeah. I guess if you're someone that wants to be able to, a lot of people I saw commented, they're like, well, it's a good thing I already own most of these on DVD, which is great unless you're traveling. This would be a good thing, if you're out and about and you're like, hey, I'm stuck in this hotel room waiting for something. You can, there's nothing good on the TV in the hotel room. Here you go, Doctor.
Or if you missed the purchase date for said DVD that is now sadly out of print.
Yes.
And sky high in price to at your collection.
Yeah. There's that too. So. No, but $6.99, that's not bad. $6.99 a month. So.
And for those Red Dwarf fans that may be listening, Red Dwarf is on there as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get out our soapboxes here.
Yes.
So, recently, Stephen Moffat was at a press screening for the Series 10 opener, which is fine. They do that. A lot of TV networks do that. So, he let the audience there know, because, if you watch Doctor Who, like a lot of shows, you watch the episode at the end, they give you a little teaser saying, next episode, and it's just, little clips and stuff, just enough to get you excited and come back for next week. All shows do that. Most shows do that. S.H.I.E.L.D. does it, Once Upon a Time does it. That's all dandy. Moffat said at this press event, though, I guess before they showed said next episode teaser at this press event that there is a countdown in the teaser to let you know that when it reaches 0 or whatever, to close your eyes because there's a major spoiler that will, quote, melt your brains.
Yeah.
And the article goes on to say that the same thing will be, it wasn't just for this press event, the countdown to close your eyes will also be included in the teaser as it airs after the season 10 opener airs this coming Saturday. Great! Thanks for the warning, Moffat. Melt your brains, that's a pretty big claim, but that's fine. Well,
Jump a few days
apparently,
later.
from what I could tell from other people I've talked to, I'm guessing at least one person not either, I guess, didn't bother to close their eyes and therefore got the spoiler and then couldn't keep their mouths shut about it. So it got
the
out.
one article that I had read about the 10-second countdown, this person had said, yes, I've seen it. No, I'm not telling you so you can have the same mind-melting experience that I did. I'm like, okay,
Great.
thank you.
Yes. But some
Love
people
ya.
were not
good.
so nice. And apparently this got out and the rumor mill started churning, and apparently Doctor Who, the folks over at Doctor Who, in their genius, decided that it's better just nip this off at the bud, the rumor mill, and just put it out there. The problem is they literally just put it out there. They posted this on Facebook, and there wasn't the photo that went with it, and the headline. There was no taking that back as far as spoilers go. There was no, hey, click to read this article to find out who is coming back for Series 10.
If you want to.
Yes, if you want to. There was no if. It was if you were on Facebook and you follow the Doctor Who Facebook page and
It
you
was
were
there
on...
in all the outstretched arms, splendid glory.
Oh, yes. So...
Cue the Moriarty. Did you miss me?
Yeah. Ever since then, actually, I've kind of had Eminem stuck in my head from the 10th Doctor musical, the fan-made video. Guess who's back? Back again. I even had to watch that later in the day just because I had it stuck in my head. So, yeah. I would say spoiler warning, but every other Facebook page that I follow, except for one, did the same thing. They're like, well, I guess if Facebook page is posting it like this, we will too. So, at this point, spoiler warning's gone right out the window. So, John Sim is returning as the Master.
Oh boy. The snark between him
Yes.
and Missy is going to be epic.
Yes.
I don't think the 12th Doctor is going to know what hit him.
I don't think no.
It's kind of almost like, I expect it to be kind of like how in 6th Doctor, Michael Durrani, there's Durrani and the Master. That's what I'm expecting.
That's kind of what I'm expecting too. I'm like, oh, we're never going to get the Ronnie back, so I guess this is the next best thing is having two incarnations in the Master together. We're assuming, just based on the things we read, that it will be an episode that Missy is also in, and therefore we're getting the Master and Missy together. Which, oh my God.
This could happen. This could go one of two ways.
Yes.
They could hit it off like gangbusters, or it could be a knockdown, drag-out battle royale to see who's left standing.
Probably both, actually.
True.
Yeah.
I don't know who to put my money on, though. I'm going more Missy, but that's just
really. My money's on Missy. So, no offense to John Sim. His incarnation of the Master, not my favorite.
Yeah, same.
But putting him, especially, depending on where in the Master's timeline we are, you have to go all the way back to David Tennant's, run of the Doctor to see Johnson's Doctor, or Master. But he's, there's Master before and after the pyre, I guess.
Yep.
I mean, the
Before
Master's
he goes off flashy jumpy.
Yeah, the Master's always been a little wacko. We get an explanation. We do get an explanation for that with the drums and the untempered schism and all that.
Yeah.
But there's just, no offense
Thank you,
to no offense to Roger Delgado and
Anthony Ainley.
but Anthony Ainley, but I really love Missy.
Yes.
She has
a soft spot in my heart.
So Michelle Gomez is the genius.
Yes.
She just plays the part so well. So I can see her being jealous of herself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
I'm over here.
yeah. So, yeah, and we're not going to have to wait very long because, it's the teaser for the episode after the season premiere. So, Doctor Who comes back the Saturday the following week. Unless something, I guess, drastic happens, timey-wimey wise. I don't know. I guess we can safely assume it's going to be episode 2.
I'm hoping.
I guess. So, when you go to watch Doctor Who this Saturday, when they go to do the Close Your Eyes, whatever it is, it must just be only visual because they don't tell you to plug your ears either. So, you can decide for yourselves on whether you want to, close your eyes in case this isn't the brain melting spoiler that Moffat was talking. I don't know how anything other than this could be the brain melting spoiler, but you never know. I guess even if you did close your eyes in hopes that that's not the spoiler, you'd probably also have to stay off social media for a week. Because people can't keep their mouths shut. Thanks a lot, whoever you were.
I want to know, because I haven't seen, what Moffat's reaction, but probably isn't that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know Moffat's opinion on people ruining stuff. I mean, he did that for the 50th, the trailer got played for the 50th, at San Diego Comic-Con first, and he flat out told people, if this gets leaked, you aren't getting anything until November. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at IMDb, and it doesn't have anything for cast listing for him, but there is an episode title for episode 4 called Knock Knock. I'm wondering if that might not be
maybe. I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Appearance.
Yeah, really at this point, as far as season 10, I'm just going to sit back and watch.
And
I'm
ready for this ride. I'm ready for the ride.
Hopefully just be pleasantly surprised at the ride I get taken on, because it's Moffat's swan song. He knows, this is his last season. So there's probably been things that he's been wanting to do and try for the entire time he's been showrunner, and he's going to unload his entire arsenal of tricks for this season.
And this may or may not be Pearl Mackey's only season as companion from what's been rumored, bandied about.
Yeah. Yeah. It's Doctor Who. That's all it is. It's just
wibbly wobbly tiny white.
Yeah, try to ignore the rumor mills and the negativity and just enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to Saturday.
Me too.
If I get to watch it on Saturday.
Not sure, but watch it, but
yeah, me too. I'm like, I'm not gonna have a chance to watch it Saturday. I'm gonna wait till Sunday. But that's my problem, not your guys's. All right, let's put our soapboxes away for now.
Okay.
Tuck them safely away.
But close by.
Yeah, we always keep them close by. But just put away enough you don't trip over it when you get up. So that's it for news. Real quickly, I do want to talk about the Time Lord Expo mini event that I went to on Saturday. I got up really early to drive out to Dayton. Actually, technically it's Fairborn, Ohio, but it's essentially a suburb of Dayton. It's kind of southeast-ish of Dayton proper. So I got up really early and drove out there. Other than the fact that it was really early, it's actually a fairly easy drive for me coming from Indianapolis. It's kind of a straight shot until you gotta get that southeast bit, which was nice. The weather was nice, which that's always a good thing. So I got there about an hour before the event was supposed to start. It started at 10. I got there at 9. Almost practically on the nose. I told Patrick that I was planning on being there about 9. I walked in the door at like 9 o'clock, and Patrick saw me. He's like, "You're right on time." I'm like, "I know." I try. So it was a tiny event. It was free. So it really was just to give folks a chance to buy their convention admission if they wanted to. You could buy, single day or multi-day or the Tom Baker VIP there. They went ahead and discontinued the discount on the Tom Baker VIPs, but you had to pay cash to do that, to buy them right there and then. We had a little kids area for games for little kids to play, and every kid won a prize, whether they won the game or not. Although there were less kids than I would have hoped, so Patrick had to take a lot of the stuff home. He's like, "What am I going to do with this?" I'm like, "Hold on till October. We'll try to give it away then." I don't know. And then there were a vendor who I think he's going to be there in October. He's an owner of a local comic shop there in the Dayton area. So he had back copies of the Doctor Who comics and some other things. Funko Pops, that sort of thing for sale. The official photographer for the convention was there. They had a photo booth set up with a green screen background, and they could take your picture and then superimpose you into a scene from Doctor Who. So there was like inside of the TARDIS and on Gallifrey and with some Daleks. So that was kind of fun. And then Wayne Tillett, who you may not know him by name, but you probably know his work if you've been on Facebook. If you are familiar with Whotoons, he is the artist for those. It's a weekly Doctor Who comic strip, among other things. He does that. He also does Doctor Who themed caricatures and just fun Doctor Who cartoons type things. So he was there doing caricatures, and his wife also does geeky jewelry. So she was selling her stuff. And then, of course, Patrick and his wife were there answering questions about the convention, that sort of thing. It was actually held at the same hotel that the convention's going to be held at. So I got to see it. Do not let the fact that it's being held at a Holiday Inn fool you. As far as Holiday Inns is concerned, this is a really nice Holiday Inn. Like, you could easily take off the Holiday Inn logo and rebrand it as like a Hilton, something to higher end, and I think it would still work, because it is nice. I don't know if that's a...
Just from the pictures you posted, it looks fabulous.
Yes, it is super nice. Really nice restaurant, bar, and I haven't seen any of the hotel rooms yet, but it's got pool. But yeah, super nice. Every time, like, Patrick gave me a tour, gave me an idea of, there was actually it's funny because it's a few blocks away from the Nutter Center, which is kind of the big, kind of a sports arena. It's on campus of the college. It's in the area. And actually the WGI Winter Guard World Championships were going on. The last day of them was going on that same day, which gave me a blast from the past because I was turning at the light and I could see the Nutter Center, the WGI being advertised on the side. I'm like, I was in Winter Guard. I've done that stuff at that venue before back in high school. So that was kind of funny. But there were some Winter Guards staying at the hotel. So they had taken over some of the conference spaces because they were giving them breakfast before they went and competed and all that. But he did walk me through and show me the room we were in. The wall opens up, and that's going to be the autograph area. And then if you go back around the restaurants, that is where the rest of like the conference and ballroom type rooms are. So there'll be vendor hall, vendor/artist hall. There's a actual like almost like an actual conference room that's got the tiered like theater seating. It has chairs built in, and it's got the big projection screen, and that's where they're going to do the Skype call with Tom Baker. That's where also they're going to have all the main paneling with all the celebrities. That's where we're going to have the cosplay contest, that sort of thing. There's going to be a museum of Doctor Who props and costumes. Some of them are actual BBC screen used props that will be carefully under lock and key so that they don't grow legs and walk off. And then there'll be a room for professional photo ops, that sort of thing. Some of the things you would expect from a convention. But we're going to be taking over the convention area for Time Lord Expo. But it should be nice. And then I had copies of the registration form for the cosplay contest, so I got a good number of people signed up right there and then for the cosplay contest. So that's good. So we're actually have entries. But yeah, no, it was fun. Met some cool people. The vendors and all that were super nice. I don't know if I'd met Patrick's wife before. I can't remember if she was at Doctoberfest or not. But Patrick's a super nice guy. Big, obviously a big Doctor Who fan. And it was just fun to talk to people about the event in October. Most of the people that showed up were folks that already knew about it and were already planning on attending, or thinking of attending. We had the occasional person that they were at the hotel for something else and kind of wandered in, like, "What are you doing?" And like, "We're talking Doctor Who. Come on in." Had some folks that were like family of one of the Winter Guards that were there, and they were like, "Hey, we should probably send someone over to the Nutter Center. Like, hey, in between guard performances, you need something to do? Come over to the Holiday Inn and talk Doctor Who with us." So that was fun. One of the biggest things was the charity raffle. We had there were two. Which were in a really nice like plastic basket, had the seal Rassilon on the front. One was 12th Doctor themed, and the other was 11th Doctor themed. So there was a sonic screwdriver, Funko Pop, some other things related to those respective doctors. But then there were also, each basket also had an autographed photo from Terry Malloy, aka Davros. There was also an autographed photo from Caitlin Blackwood, aka Young Amy Pond. There's an autographed Big Finish in each one from someone from Big Finish. I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. And a bunch of other Doctor things. And then the other prize was the 13 Doctor like action figure set, where it's got all 13 Doctors in it. They're limited edition. They only made like 3,000 of these sets, and each one is numbered. And then also each prize also came with a Tom Baker VIP experience badge. So that was cool. So people could buy little raffle tickets, and then they put them in a jar for whichever prize they wanted to try and win. And then the money from that went to another member of the convention staff who unfortunately had to be hospitalized in the last few months. And at the same time he was hospitalized for a health issue. We had to have something amputated for some reason. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't want to ask. I didn't want to pry. But at the same time, he was in the hospital recovering from surgery. His wife got diagnosed with cancer. So there's kind of something Patrick, put together. He asked people to donate to, prizes for the gift basket. And of course, he included the Tom Baker badges for whoever won. So we ended up raising like $400 that's going to go towards this family, help pay with medical expenses or groceries or gas or whatever. So hopefully that'll help. And thanks to everyone that showed up and bought raffle tickets, because that's always, a good number of people. There were a good number of tickets in each jar. So, every only one of the people that won was actually there when we drew the tickets, and then one of the other people that won came back and picked up his prize, and then they got a hold of the last winner, and we'll get the prize to them at some point. So it was a nice day. I didn't necessarily enjoy getting up that early, but it was all right. Plug in the podcast and the stereo and just listen to podcasts in the drive there and the drive back. There's a Tim Hortons about 10-15 minutes away from the hotel, so that made me happy. I stopped at Tim Hortons on my way out of town, and we will be stopping at Tim Hortons at least on the way in and the way out when we go in October. So. And that Tim Hortons is open 24 hours.
Ooh, nice.
But yeah, it was fun. I'm glad I got to go out there and get to meet some of the people that are going to be there in October and get an idea of what I'm in for October as far as the hotel and everything. And actually, I haven't done it yet, but I need to call the hotel, and actually I'm going to see about, because we, at the moment, our plan is to arrive Friday morning, because the convention doesn't start until late Friday afternoon. But after doing that drive, I drive Thursday. so we don't have to get up early Friday, drive all the way out there, and then get straight into convention mode after being up super early. I think it'll make more sense to get there Thursday. That way we don't have to get up the butt crack of dawn on Friday. We can actually kind of sleep in, maybe use the pool, that sort of thing. But I gotta call a hotel and see if I can do that first. So, but anyway, at the very least, I'll be there Friday morning, but I may be there Thursday evening. But it's exciting. It's exciting. There's still a lot of work to be done. As far as arranging everything, Patrick's got the main programming schedule completed. They are accepting panel submissions right now, although I don't know when the cutoff for that is. But if you've got an idea for a panel, go to the Facebook page, and I'll try and find the post with the email address you need to send panel suggestions to, because it's not me. I'm in charge of cosplay, not panels. Send a panel, send your panel idea, and they'll see about working it into the schedule. But I know he's also working on potentially another guest. But it's not, if it works out, it's not going to be till June before they make an announcement. And I think I know who he's trying to get, but I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to jinx it. But if he gets his guest, that will require rearranging the schedule for Sunday, I think, for the convention. But until the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed on a contract, I'm not too concerned about it. But either way, there's still a lot of work to be done between now and October. But it's exciting. I'm excited, and people seem very excited about it. Especially that Tom Baker Skype call. The people are very, very excited about that Tom Baker Skype call. So if you're thinking of going, I would not wait, because especially if you want to do the Tom Baker thing, it's limited. It is very limited. Mostly due to the size of the room. The room could only hold so many people. So we don't want the fire marshal to get mad at us. So if you're thinking of going, do it. Get your badge. Book your hotel room. It's a really nice hotel. You won't be disappointed. So it's gonna be fun time. And I'm very happy that they asked me to be involved in all that. So if you missed out on going and you still want to, sign up for the cosplay contest, send me an email. fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. I will get you hooked up. Just prepare to be judged. That's what I kept telling people as they were filling out their form. Like, prepare to be judged in the nicest way possible. I said, I'm a fairly nice person. I would think with the rest of the judges that they'll be fairly nice. I keep teasingly tell people, I said, if you really want to guarantee you win, make sure you know how to play the spoons. Like, if you want to get a high score from Sylvester, like, if you want to get a high score from Sylvester, you got to be able to play the spoons. I'm pretty sure that's going to be one of his requirements. I can see it now before we start the cosplay contest. I'm going to be like, Sylvester, playing the spoons is not a requirement for a high score.
Or he just might join you up on stage.
Or that too.
That was so cool.
Patrick and I have already decided Sophie's going to be on Sylvester babysitting duty. So. I figure she's either the only person who could keep him in line, or the two of them together is going to be even more dangerous.
Ooh, the shenanigans those two could get into.
Meanwhile, I'm going to be in a corner with Terry Malloy just laughing, I think. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. That's that. Let's move on to the feels. AKA Agents of Feels. That's now the new name. It's not Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's not even Agents of Hydra. It is Agents of Feels. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
There were some things I did not see coming in that one.
Yeah.
Same here.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are not in S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore. We have gone down the rabbit hole.
Although,
through a black hole.
I didn't get a chance to see it when it first aired, and I forgot to get caught up, and we started, and I'm like, oh shoot. Well, the news section is usually pretty long. Hopefully I'll be able to watch it before we actually discuss it, because when we started the episode, I had not watched it. When we started recording, I had not watched the episode. So while you guys were doing the news, I put my mic on mute, and I watched the episode on my iPod.
That's a good thing we had a
So
long news segment.
I'm fresh. I'm like, I just finished.
I don't even know where to start with this. Oh, thank goodness. Like I said, we have gone down the rabbit hole, through a black hole, into the upside down of the Matrix.
Yeah.
The thing is,
Radcliffe.
Yeah, the thing is they don't, Daisy and Gemma, at this point, I don't think they realize that Radcliffe is dead and has been dead, and realize that Ada is actually the one pulling the strings. They will eventually, I'm sure. But the thing with the framework...
Especially now that they're stuck.
Yes,
for the time
especially
being.
now that they're stuck. The thing with the framework is...
She's the reason they're stuck.
Yeah. She's too smart for her own good.
She's too smart. I mean, oh my god, when she said that she closed the loophole, it's like,
yeah.
Oh.
It's so familiar, but it's off just enough.
Just that little bit. And then Ward.
I know.
What's mole in Hydra instead of
Hydra mole inside Shield. He's essentially a Shield mole inside
Hydra.
Hydra.
Hydra mole inside Shield is like, and when he like shot that other agent and that he is part of the Resistance, I'm like, what?
Yeah, I actually kind of called that like a few minutes before that particular scene. I'm like,
I didn't see it coming.
I even typed it in the chat. Crazy thought. What if Ward is the mole? And he's actually like...
I did not see that coming.
Well, then we kind of called it in the chat too about Coulson and Tahiti.
Yes. Yeah. So but there's some really good. I mean, stuff will get explained as we move along here. It's kind of annoying the fact that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kept going on these hiatuses in between storylines. But at the same time, it's actually almost a good thing because there are so little episodes left for the season that stuff really can't get strung out. So, like, they've already gotten to Coulson and they're only one episode into this storyline. They still have to try to get to Fitz, to May, to Mac. Broken, at least put a really big crack into Coulson's awareness of the fact that the framework is not real. So it's almost a good thing that the season was broken up like this because they're not dragging things out because they know they've got so many episodes, a crap ton of episodes. It's like they've got a finite amount of episodes to tell this story. Let's go, which is great. And there's some really good theories about why things are the way they are. And with any luck, most of everything will be explained. The whole thing with Coulson and, as we see him when Gemma shows up and, with the hula dancer and, she's like, Tahiti, it's a magical place. And he's like, why did you say that? But then, we see him digging through that stuff that's in his desk where, he's got the postcard from Tahiti. He's got the calendar with the image of Lola on it. He's got pieces of paper where he's wrote, it's a magical place over and over and over again, almost like he did with the carving all the way back when. And I theorized this in the chat and it ended up being confirmed actually by Mr. Whedon himself. In a post-episode interview, I theorized the fact that maybe Coulson was the one that is seemingly, his real memories are seeping through, is because he went through the Tahiti Protocol. His brain has already been rewritten once.
So he could tell if it was being rewritten again.
Right, and, Ada, probably not knowing, she either didn't factor that in or she didn't know about Tahiti Protocol or whatever. But, the framework, it works based on, essentially taking the person's memories and building a reality around that. But the fact that, Coulson's brain is really not normal because of Tahiti Protocol and because he has that alien blood going through his veins at the same time because of Tahiti Protocol. His brain's not the same as everyone else's. So that's a kink in Ada's plan in the framework itself, and that's what I think is why it's easy because those cracks in his eggshell were already there even before Gemma showed up. So by the time Daisy showed up and, made that heartfelt plea in the backseat of Coulson's crappy, whatever year Subaru station wagon. Even in the framework, Subarus, they keep on going. Daisy makes that plea, Coulson, you're the person I go to when, stuff gets heavy. You're my rock. You need to remember me. And we just, Coulson, he's just like, I don't know you. And finally, the crack gets bigger, and he's like, Daisy, and I'm like, oh, yes! One down, handful to go. At this point, May and Fitz, I think, are going to be the hardest ones to crack.
Fitz is scary in this.
Fitz is so scary in this. This is not, from what we've seen, May, yeah, she's Hydra, but she's still May. She's doing her job. She's hard, she doesn't crack a smile. She's do your duty, get the job done. No funny business. That's May. Coulson, he's a company man, or at least he's trying to be. Granted, he's a school teacher, but he's living in a world where Hydra, top dog. And so, he's trying to teach kids and, do his job and be that company man that he always has been. But, even though it's with Hydra, it's still Coulson. He loves history. He appreciates, that sort of thing. And we haven't seen Mac yet. And we haven't seen Mace yet either. But Fitz, other than being just a genius as far as science is concerned, Fitz is a completely different person. It is scary and sad all at the same time. And why Fitz is this way, we don't. Daisy theorizes it's because he doesn't have Gemma. He never had Gemma in his life, and the influence she had on him. But at the same time, is Fitz's, as far as his parents are concerned, in reality, he does not have a very good, he doesn't speak well of his father. So in this reality, is his father alive? And that hopefully we'll figure out as this episodes go on. And then everyone else is a construct of the framework, including Ward. There are people that theorize that Ward is the mole within Hydra because Ada's using the memories and information that Ada has gotten from Coulson and crew is that Ward is a traitor, but doesn't realize that he was a traitor in the other way. In reality, he was a traitor against them. And in this case, he's still a traitor against May and Fitz, but not necessarily a traitor against Daisy. She needs to cut her.
Thank you, Ada, for getting that little bit of information goofed up.
Yeah, she also needs to cut her hair. Really weird to see her with the long hair again. Really weird. So that it's still Ward. Ward is being a traitor to the organization that he's working for. It's just, in this case, it's the opposite. Instead of being a wolf in sheep's clothing, he's a sheep in wolf's clothing, I guess. Which, again, okay, whatever. Let's see how Brett Dalton plays this, I guess. Getting to be the good guy this time. But yeah, it's like I said, it's just off enough to be disconcerting at what you're saying. It's like, Daisy, she's Daisy. She doesn't have her powers in the framework. She's not Quake within the framework. If she were to go through Terrigenesis in the framework, I don't know if that's something that they're planning on doing. Would she become Quake? We do know that she does have Inhuman DNA. That's the whole reason that Ward turned on Hydra, because in the framework, he generally does have feelings for for Sky, not Daisy, but Sky, because that's who he knows is Sky. And he realizes that she's got inhuman DNA and wants to protect her, and therefore joins the Resistance. It's very Star Wars. The Resistance. So she could go through Terrigenesis, but the question is, what would it do to her, considering she's not part of the framework the same way everyone else is? What would that do to her on the outside if they get out of the framework? And two, would she end up with the same powers? She could go through Terrigenesis just fine and end up with completely different. What would happen if she ended up with something like Reyna, where she physically changes on the outside, not just the inside? That could be interesting. But how far they're going to go down that, these subsequent rabbit holes, considering there aren't a lot of episodes left, will be interesting. And there's a potential we could see some other familiar faces come back too, because it is the framework. It's one of those Whedon's all like, wait and see. Thanks a lot. Just like your brother. Yeah. It's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It comes back from a break or whatever, and it's like, here we go. This is where we're going. Hold on to your hats. We're off for a bumpy ride. It was definitely bumpy. I mean, Daisy, waking up, thinking she's going to wake up to Lincoln. And it being Ward. She tries to quake him, but nothing happens. He's like, what are you doing? Is that a thing we do now? And, I don't know who had it worse waking up in the framework. Daisy waking up to Ward, or Gemma waking up being buried alive. It's just considering how bad, our memories and our opinions of Ward is, it's like, which one of those is really worse? I think Gemma wins just by a little bit, as far as crappy start to time in the framework. Just a smidge. She's like, yeah, I think Hydra killed me, but I'm better now. And as Brittany said, Gemma sounded a lot like Brittany when she was sick.
Yes, very raspy.
But I guess we should mention the other thing that makes Fitz very scary. It's his choice in romantic partners. Good Lord. Ada is a top, as far as we can tell, top dog at Hydra within the framework, and she's, if you're familiar with the comics, she's Madam Hydra. So she's the, framework equivalent of Red Skull, I guess. But she and Fitz apparently have a thing going on in the framework, and it's kind of gross to watch. It kind of makes me want to throw up a little. Yeah. Good ship Simmons is sinking faster than the Titanic. Even though it's not even real. But this world is just, the whole construct of the entire world is the fact that May did not kill that girl in Bahrain. That's the epicenter of this entire, version of the framework. And everyone knows it too. That's the thing, is she's at Hydra, working with Hydra. Whether she was S.H.I.E.L.D. in Bahrain, I don't know. And then she switched, or what. She may have. I don't know. Maybe we'll get into that further. S.H.I.E.L.D. did exist. As far as what I've read, this is pre-Winter Soldier. So the events of Winter Soldier never happened inside the framework. Instead of Hydra making their presence known because of Winter Soldier, Hydra made their presence known because of Bahrain. Or the effects of Bahrain, which was the Cambridge incident, which happened after. May save the, because she's a child, she's young, she can be taught. Go, take her, try to assimilate her into, the rest of the world with other, with humans and, Inhumans alike. And apparently the girl went like nutso and killed like 20 people. And that made the entire planet humans. And apparently Hydra came in and created this world order. I'm doing air quotes here. World order. And now Inhumans are, they're the enemy. They're considered dangerous. And it's not pretty. But the thing is, it seems like everyone at Hydra, and maybe for this whole Inhuman thing, if she hadn't saved that girl and brought her back, the Cambridge incident wouldn't have happened, blah, 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 blah. So Ada and Radcliffe designed the framework so that whoever is in it, their biggest regret never happened. But by fixing May's biggest regret, not saving that girl in Bahrain, they've created even bigger regret for May. There's some flawed. It's very flawed. And I think that's going to come back to bite Ada in the butt, I think, in the storyline. She's super smart. Ada's super smart, obviously. She's outgrown her programming, but because she wants to try to have the human experience, but at the end of the day, she's just not going to be able to. I think that's ultimately going to be her downfall. Is as much as she wants to be human, she just can't. How being within the framework, how that's going to affect everyone, especially someone like May who's been in it for so long, we'll just have to wait and see. And based on the preview for this week's episode, as we're recording this, it's actually tomorrow's episode, we're going to get to see Mac finally, and Mace. And apparently Mace is the head of the Resistance. Because of course he is. He's the Patriot. Who else would be in the head of the Resistance? But they're gonna take Coulson to Mace, and hopefully that big crack in Coulson sticks, and they can peel him out of his shell, complete love. But anyway, Agents of Feels. It's like, Ward makes my skin crawl, even if he happens to be a good guy this time around. He still makes my skin crawl. Fitz just wants to make me throw something at him, and Coulson, I just want to shake him by his shoulders and be like, "Please remember." Daisy was a lot nicer to them than I would have.
Kind of waiting. Don't tell me he's a triple agent.
Yeah, that's the only thing with Ward is like, you better actually be a good guy and not be like triple timing here. So. I think that would be too complicated, honestly. I could be wrong, but I think that's just maybe a bit too complicated. Again, considering the number of episodes that they have to work with. But maybe, if Ward dies this time around, I mean, since this Ward is nothing but a construct of the framework, him dying in the framework isn't going to affect anything in the outside world. But it may cause some conflict of feelings, probably especially for Daisy, because she remembers the Ward from reality compared to this Ward, if he does turn out to be an upstanding guy and maybe sacrifices himself in the process, it's like once they come out of the framework, Daisy's going to have to resolve her feelings for reality ward / hive versus framework ward, which could be an interesting psychological thing for Daisy. Kind of sad that Andrew's not available to be her therapist. Although Andrew does exist in the framework, possibly, which could be interesting. Again, we might see some familiar faces. Wait and see. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They're taking us on a ride. They're doing what they do best, and that's why I love this show so much. It's fun, even if it's not necessarily fun. If that makes sense. It's fun in a way that reading, an actual comic book is, where it can be emotionally charged. They'll do things to characters you love that you may not like. But it's still entertaining in, I guess, a sadistic kind of way, maybe. The characters are so well written, and well cast and well acted. Poor Brett Dalton. Heaven forbid I ever meet him in real life. I'd be like, dude. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see, especially, how this may tie into the larger MCU. It actually probably won't. That's kind of the nice thing. One of the reasons they're actually probably doing this particular storyline, because it takes place essentially in an alternate reality. It doesn't affect the rest of the MCU. Then once they get out, the fallout from that could have ripple effects within the MCU. But nothing happening here is going to directly affect Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 or Spider-Man. So it's pretty genius, actually, them doing this, just because of those timing issues that we've talked about ad nauseum, about trying to get Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. matched back up with the MCU. This allows them to do something that they don't have to worry about how that fits in, and actually maybe buy them some time too, and help, assuming Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. gets another season, that may help with timing wise to maybe bring things, line them back up together, maybe, kind of, sort of. I'm hoping. I'm still hoping. I'm still waiting. All right. Anyone else have anything to add? We're all just emotionally strung out.
Like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah. It doesn't help that we're recording this Monday evening, and we had Once Upon a Time last night, which was kind of emotionally draining too. So it's like, thanks a lot, Disney and ABC, for making us all emotional hot messes. We really appreciate it.
And not enough time for our blood pressure to go down.
Yeah. Well, I would say, the next week maybe we can be a little less emotionally wrung out, but that's not likely to happen. Not with Stephen Moffat in charge.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be shaking our fists at a different
showrunner. Pretty much. Yeah. Well, speaking of the
I still think they all get together and just what can we do?
How can we emotionally compromise our fans this week?
We gave them a little bit of a break, but it's time to
pretty much
mix things up.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the upcoming podcast episodes or schedule, let's look ahead to the schedule here next week. In case you've been living under a rock, next week, Doctor Who! Doctor Who!
Finally!
We will be talking Doctor Who Season 10, The Pilot. Our introduction of Bill as the new companion. So, Easter Saturday, it's coming! So, and then I will also have probably just a small recap of Indiana Comic-Con. I will be there helping out at the Who North America booth. I will be there most of the time, so I have been told, the schedule I was given does build in some time for me to enjoy the con a little bit, but not a whole lot. But with Indiana Comic-Con, I've voiced my complaints about that particular convention more than once. We'll see how they decide to do things this year, and if it changes my opinion any. Although experiencing it as a vendor, essentially, it will probably color my experience just a little bit. But if you happen to see me at the Who North America booth, feel free to, if I'm not helping anyone, feel free to stop and say hi. And then, again, Doctor Who. Yee, Doctor Who. And then the following week, and we'll probably actually have a little bit of news as well. Actually, probably quite a bit of news next week, because this coming weekend, if you're not going to Indiana Comic-Con, you may be headed to Florida for Star Wars Celebration. So kind of Star Wars fandom Christmas, more than likely. We could probably guess we're going to get our first glimpse at The Last Jedi. So I would stay tuned to the social medias over the weekend. And then the following weekend, the weekend of April 22nd, we're going to have to figure something out, because I have no idea, actually. The next couple weeks we're going to have to figure out, but we'll talk about that after we're no longer recording. But then early May, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2! So, that is very exciting. Very, very, very exciting. Yes. So, very exciting stuff coming up, fandom-wise. So, and then, of course, if you want to join in on our conversation about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Doctor Who, any of those fun things, you can always drop us some line feedback. We actually do have some feedback for this week, but it is from Chrissy's sister, so I thought we'd wait until Chrissy's back with us, too. So, Chrissy's back with us next week. We will read Shalane's feedback. Or did we already do that? She sends us feedback so often, I can't keep track. We may have more feedback from her.
I can't.
I stuck stuff in the feedback folder, and then I don't remember what I forgot to look. But anyway, Shalane or anyone else wants to send us feedback, you can always send it. I'm tired. It's been a very long weekend. It's been a very long week. Hit us up at on our website, thefivishfangirls.com. From there, you'll find links to a little form. You can send us feedback, or you can just email us directly, fivishfangirls@gmail.com. There's also links to our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, the Goodreads Book Club. There's that too. And of course, a link to our Patreon. So we cannot thank our Patreon supporters enough for their monetary supports. we could do this without you, but every little bit that you do give just makes things just a little easier for us. We say thank you to that. There's also the link to our Amazon affiliate link. Click on that, and then you can shop Amazon, heart's content, buy whatever. It doesn't have to be anything, fandom related. You can buy socks or diapers, whatever. It all counts. We just get a little kickback from Amazon. It doesn't cost you anymore to use our link. Just Amazon's nice enough to say, hey, someone bought some socks. Here's a couple of cents. And we go, thank you, Amazon. But it all adds up, and that helps, again, gives us a little breathing room for things. So yeah, you can find all that on our website. So it's awesome. And just check it. Yes, Shalane did send us feedback. Don't worry, Shalane. We did not forget about you. Although I kind of did, but I didn't. I just cannot remember when you sent it. I knew you sent us something. I just cannot remember when. But we will get to that next week when Chrissy's back. Yeah. So talk to us. Check us out on Facebook. Make sure you're following us. Like us on Facebook. Make sure you're subscribed to us on YouTube and your podcast collector, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. Chrissy does this so much better than I do. Rambling off the social medias. Yeah. So just go to our website. There you can find everything. So it's all good. All good in the hood. So, all right. With that, I think we shall sign off for this week. Hopefully, because Brittany was exclaiming her Skype is being weird. Uh-oh. No, Skype's almost done. Don't give up on us now. Uh-oh.
This is Brittany and...
Nope. No. Awful.
Got something. Good evening. Are you? Hello?
Yep. I'm here. Alrighty. Well, this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana, and someone may need to check Skype for Ada. I think maybe Ada's gotten a hold of Skype. Are we in the framework? Wait! What happened? Daisy, is that you?
You have been listening to the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. Any and all movies, books, games, and other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied.